How are you? How is your preparation?
It's going good.
So, what is the difference between novel and a short story?
Sir, one of the top things that is different about a short story and a novel is that short story gets a very limited number of words and pages. So the characters have to quickly develop into a full-fledged story. So in a novel, there is enough of space and time for the characters to develop and show their different growth from one aspect to another aspect. So that is quite different. That's what I feel.
Apart from that, any other difference?
I feel in a novel, the story is quite connected. Like it leads from one aspect. So it could be a collection of short stories as well, if you see a novel in that way. And a short story is like just gets one component for it to develop and become a story.
So, who are the prominent short story writers in India, whether in English, Hindi, or in your own language?
So in English, I have read Ruskin Bond and K.R. Narayanan. So some of and even in my own language, there were a few short stories that I have read. Short story authors like Indra Bahadur Rai in Nepali, which I read in school. So these are the, I think, top
What about Hindi?
things
Any
that.
idea?
Hindi, I have heard about Premchand, who is very famous in short stories, but unfortunately, I haven't had the opportunity to read Premchand.
What are the themes that usually short stories deal with? As you said earlier, novel you will have more freedom, more space, to explore characters in detail, in depth. So, but in short story, you won't have that freedom. But you will have to. There are characters, there are people, and then there is a story, and then there is a motivation, right? So themes. So what are the themes that usually come across in short stories?
I can speak with an example, sir. Anton Chekhov, the way he writes his stories, it's about human emotions and how human characters are. So he shows human characters as very real. His stories are very real in the sense like it's not like a fairy tale. So it leaves when you read that story at the end of it.
Can you recall any one story and?
Yes. So this is a story called The Lottery Ticket. So it's about a couple who I think who has bought a lottery ticket the previous day, and on that day there's a newspaper. On the newspaper the results come out. So so the husband sees, and he sees the first 5 digits matching, but he closes his fingers and starts thinking about the last 3 digits and starts discussing with his wife on what could it mean if they win like such a big lottery and they are from a poor family. So they start thinking, and both of them start, like, initially it's a lot of happiness, but then they start thinking about what if someone steals my money, what if people kill us, like what if we kill each other for the money. So it shows the complexities of human character that is there, and obviously at the end of it the number is not there, but for a second, like for that 5-10 minutes when they went through that process, so he shows in that very short 2-3 pages of how human emotions and how human characters can be so complex, and there can be so many layers to that.
What about your short stories? You mentioned that writing short stories is one of your hobbies. How many stories you have written, and what are the themes that you have explored in your short stories?
While I used to write when I was in school, in the last 2-3 years, I have written around 10 plus stories, short stories. I've not got so much of time, but I do. When I write about rural mountainside. From back home, like from my own town, and my own experiences of my parents, like their childhood experiences of going to school and doing small activities around home, and all the stories that are very popular, the daily happenings that are very popular in the town.
Okay, did you try to publish them?
No, I have not published it.
Why?
Somehow it's not, it's not happened yet.
Okay, but you want to publish them?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. So, what about the status of women in hilly regions? So, how is it? How it used to be, and how is it evolving? with more globalization, more economic prosperity, more education? What is happening?
In the mountain side, sir, like women as a whole have been very forward. Like from my own family, I see like my mother and my grandmother. So they were very active outside the home. So they played a very active public life, not just in professional. My mom was a primary school teacher, and my dad, before he joined the West Bengal Electricity Board, he served in the army. So her experience of traveling around the country and serving in different places also helped her enrich the community life and social and community life. So they are quite participative in that. We have a good support system for women, and over the years it has only become quite stronger. In fact, like the school that I studied, Loreto Convent, so they actively push for girls, good quality girls education. Like my own sister, when she enrolled in our school, so they kind of waived her fees. So it was very helpful for families like mine, and many other families who had two or more daughters who could study and get a good quality education. So that way, it's seen a lot of improvement.
So, what is the impact of cultural diversity and governance?
Governance or the administration is a reflection of society. So if we like, India is such a diverse and culturally rich country, so there are so many different regions and so many different places, and if we represent them in governance, it makes them more inclusive. So people get a voice, and people people are able to represent their society and represent their own communities and groups and bring out the problems and issues that they actually face. So it makes governance closer to the people, more inclusive, and better solutions can come, which is very which is acceptable to a large part of our country.
Okay, so what if there is a regional diversity also, like cultural diversity plus regional diversity, and we see that many states are facing regional inequality also, right? So maybe because a capital city may be located far away from another region, and also lack of connectivity, right? Lack of movement of people, right? So do we have such kind of issue in West Bengal? Any regional disparity? Uh, you know,
Yes. Yes, sir. Actually, I can bring out my own example, like from the mountains, like of North Bengal. So, since we are quite geographically disconnected from Kolkata, people feel that they have been neglected by the state headquarters, and also because we are quite ethnically and in terms of culturally quite different from the rest of Bengal. So that is why that perception of being
so that was
neglected
the
is there.
question, the earlier question.
Yes.
Impact of cultural diversity and governance. So you gave a very positive answer there.
Yes.
Right. So don't you think there is some amount of discontent, or disconnected there? So because administration may not be able to, cater to the needs because of certain lack of connectivity, or maybe lack of interest also, right? So when culture is different, so don't you think that results in some tension, some kind of demands,
Yes, yes, sir. In fact, our
posing challenge to government?
yes, so our Gorkhaland demand was based on this particular issue, but things have seen improvement over the years. In fact, West Bengal government has provided a more number of seats, more number of representation in the state legislative assembly, and has also directed certain boards specifically for those cultures, like for example my own tribe, which is the Tamang tribe. So they have set up a particular cultural center for the protection and preservation of that particular community, and there are many such initiatives like that which is being started by the West Bengal government to bridge this gap and bring
So what are the
bring
other
it
ideas
closer.
you can think of? What are the other ideas you can think of here for more representation, more development?
One idea I can think of, which is at the top of my mind, is to give more powers to the Gorkhaland Territorial Administration, which is there. Right now, it's a semi-autonomous body, and it has only executive powers right now. So perhaps increasing and giving it more legislative powers and increasing the number of subject areas also. So we have, I think they are right now taking care of land and transportation and tourism. But there are a lot of issues like, for example, like ecology of the Himalayas, and this region is quite fragile. So if we if they are given more powers, then they can better control that resources and region and help in sustainable development. So that's a good thing to do there.
With respect to sustainability, right? Donald Trump has withdrawn from climate change negotiations and also from WHO. So when major world power withdraws like that from international institutions, organizations, treaties, do you think it will have an impact, or will it be balanced by the rising powers like China, India through their own network or alliance?
It is true that US being, in fact, they are one of the largest funders of such international organizations, especially climate change and WHO. In fact, in terms of climate change, so we are the countries like developing countries like India and least developed countries, and a lot of the poor countries are there, which we are going to bear the brunt of climate change, and it is because of the development that has happened in the West historically. So and I feel like US withdrawing out of such pacts and international treaties is a wrong signal to send. But nevertheless, in fact, of WHO as well, like withdrawing healthcare funding, and a lot of the work that WHO does is in Asia and Africa. So what we can do instead, it's a problem. Yes, we are going to be deprived of finances, but at the same time, it's an opportunity to exploit. So it opens a space for countries like India and China and a lot of the other, like for example, BRICS nations. So we can, I think, capture this space and provide solutions, and we can in fact for climate change also, developed countries have been continuously saying $100 billion. Now they are saying $300 billion, but we don't know how it is going to come. And if we can utilize this alternative multilateral institutions like ADB, AIIB and NDB from the from BRICS, so we can use that and help come up with solutions. In fact, India's own International Solar Alliance is one such good example where India has taken the lead in providing an alternate solution. And in fact, for WHO also, like because the diseases and because a lot of the problems, health crisis are in Africa and Asia, so it provides a space for us to develop expertise in this area and also provide personnel health experts to WHO. So it's a great opportunity to capture right now, actually.
What about BRICS? Do you think it has the potential to emerge as counterweight, or in its own capacity as one of the influential organizations or alliance? So what is its current status and how is it evolving? Are there any new members who have joined it? Like, what is happening?
So BRICS initially developed with Brazil, Russia, India and China, and later on South Africa emerged. And it's taken developing countries and rising powers kind of a position, and alternate to international institutions which are generally led by the West, or and the rules and standards are set by the West. So it is an alternate institution, and it's a great opportunity for India to, especially in this emerging multipolarity, to assert itself and assert our own powers. And the expansion of BRICS is very good. In fact, Egypt and Ethiopia and Saudi Arabia, and I'm not able to recall all the countries, but like while it has expanded and it has gotten all these new countries in the region, developing countries, so we can actually do something, provide alternate solutions for the world and provide an alternate pole of access. And at the same time, it does not mean that we are anti-West. So we are maintaining our strategic autonomy, and at the same time, we are balancing BRICS as well as the West. So it is for India's best interests that we kind of get as many options as possible, so that we can take the best decisions for our country.
See, we have seen Donald Trump's repeated warnings against BRICS countries, and also there is ongoing trade war between China and United States, right? So they impose some 10%. These people have in turn imposed some, 15-20%, tariffs. So what is the implication of this if it doesn't stop?
Such a trade war, sir, in between US and China, and US threatening the BRICS countries in terms of tariffs, is not a good sign, because in any situation, when we constrict and put restrictions on trade, then the world economy as a whole suffers. So it is not a good idea at all. And uh, while he has been very internal focused, like focusing on America, and it's his position on trade and economy. But overall, I think if we see, even in like between the two world wars, I think there was a lot of trade restrictions and trade tariff wars. So it did not bode well for the world in general. So we should not, I think, get into retaliatory measures, and that ways, I think I think both ends are going to suffer that ways.
Recently, Elon Musk tweeted, make Europe great again. Join the movement. What does it indicate, and why one individual is, meddling in the affairs of Europe, and what has been the response of European countries? Did you go through that tweet?
No, sir. But I did hear about Elon Musk trying to give speeches to the far right wing in Germany, because the elections are, I think, coming up in Germany. So what I feel is that right now it's the hegemony of corporations. I think, like, out of the top 100 wealthiest bodies, I think, so most of them are corporations, multinational corporations, and he is a reflection of that growing power of multinational companies, where they are trying to set the rules without any responsibility, because when it is a country or a state, they are responsible to the people, so they are just responsible to their shareholders. So I think that's not a good sign in general. And the way I think politicians, and I think the environment in US has been responding to people like Elon Musk, is that interference, I think foreign interference in any country's elections or political process should not be encouraged. That's what I feel.
So recently, China came up with, something called DeepSeek, right? So another AI software AI tool, or LLM model, large language model, and it instantly impacted, that Nvidia chip making company's shares. Nearly half of it was eroded, right? And it was said that, China was able to produce a cheaper version of AI, competitive to, better than Open AI and, other AI models that are out there. So question number one, how China was able to do this, that, come up with a model that didn't depend on, lots of technology, lots of investment. Secondly, second question, India is lagging behind in this, right? So we haven't innovated with respect to AI. Third, what is going to be its long-term impact? If China keeps bettering its AI model.
What I believe is that China, how it has developed its DeepSeek model, it has used lower quality chips that was outside the restrictions of chip restrictions imposed by the US. If I'm not wrong, I think it was the H8000 chips that they have used. This is of lower quality, not high. Not high quality chips. So what it shows, that it's tenacity to use limited resources to have the same amount of impact as OpenAI, and I think and they've done a very good job. And for India, like, we are quite lagging behind in technology, so I think we should learn from them on how to make the best use of resources. China, despite the restrictions on chips and so many other I think critical technologies, they have managed to come up with such a solution. So yes, India should look at, like, how they have done it and learn from them. And the long term impact shows that one thing, I think the top thing that comes to my mind is that US led sanctions may not entirely work especially in different kind of countries with different cultural and political contexts. So we should, in terms of security and defense, so we should not be complacent and think that, okay, like we put sanctions on them and they'll not access chips and they'll take a longer lead time. So they have found out alternate ways to bridge this gap. So we should not be complacent, and we should also look at developing our own indigenous AI tool. But nevertheless, like I have always been very acutely aware of how India and its interactions with the outside world affects our own daily lives. In fact, like I can recall some examples from my own life and what I have seen around me. My own uncle, he's an ex-Indian Army veteran, and he went and worked with a military contractor in Iraq during the US occupation, and he used to say that how they were very particular that they wanted only Indian Army trained ex-soldiers. And even my own aunt, who she worked as a hairdresser in a salon in the Middle East. So she also used to say, because she was Indian, like she would get treated differently from her colleagues from other countries. So that shows, and in fact, like one recent example, I think my own friend, he wanted to pursue his MBA, and he took a huge loan to go to the UK and get it. But unfortunately, it was only 6 months durations he had for getting a job, and he couldn't, and he had to come back. So all of these shows like how what is happening in the world is very important, and it affects each of our lives. And not just that, how India is seen by the outside world is also very important. So that is why I want to be a part of this distinguished service, to be able to contribute towards the building the position of our country in the world, and thereby enhancing the well-being of all our citizens.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So the last answer was very good. Just thoda sa usko shorten it, but the answer is really good.
Okay.
And so what I noticed is I started with conceptual question like difference between novel and short story. So start from there. I mean, I felt that answer should have been a bit more
better.
Not just one difference, like from a literary viewpoint
perspective,
by quoting examples or something, or maybe literary criticism is there. So within literary criticism, they may be what do you call them? In Kannada we call vimarshaka, like those who critically critically review story or a novel or something. I think the literary critics, critics, right?
Yes.
So if you can read one few articles written by literary critics about difference between these two formats and certain example, so that will make it look like you are passionate about not just reading and writing, but also knowing the tools and the trends, history. So that is fine. And then the next answer was good. Like then you talked about short story in English and the themes, right? What do you write? You talked about that. What do you write about the themes? You talked about the life in hilly region, the life there and all. But within that, it could have been like more like social. I mean, if at all there are some themes.
Like social, emotional, or something like that.
Yeah, themes. Like for example, if it is related to kind of the nature of employment or unemployment that is affecting relationships or something. I don't know. I'm just making it up.
Okay, good.
Something like that, right? Or if it is children moving away from that region to urban region, and there maybe getting detached from the culture. I don't know. It may be another theme. So something like that. So there are no specific mention of the theme. It was like more of a general, as if you're reviewing them. So what are the themes? So that should be there. So the reason is that will open up discussion, for a few more issues. So I was expecting like you are going to put few issues there. On that issue, I could continue the discussion.
I can recall like man-animal conflicts. I think I'd written something like that.
Yeah.
So in the village area, because these leopard attacks are very common.
Yeah. So that is another thing like that. So again, impact of that cultural diversity and governance. Keeping in mind the next discussion we had, I asked that question. So that example, I think, should have been there. Like in the end, so your answer was largely positive, maintain that. In the end, however, like in states like West Bengal, we see that there is some amount of discontent when there is a distinct culture and it is not getting the attention or the development. It poses a challenge to governance, and what is the nature of that challenge? Kind of unrest, separatism, extremism, insurgents. In some cases, various different cases.
So what solutions can we provide to that? Like apart from political solution?
The one you said was right. Like more decentralization of powers, more autonomy. The decentralization, another you would have added, but more autonomy you added. The second part, I felt IR part was a bit more descriptive, but less in ideas.
Okay.
It could have been, again, it's not like structured also. It can be a little bit structured. The same point, you can structure, like I see it from two different ways. So there are three reasons why it is happening. Like Elon Musk, what is Trump leaving, the consequences. So I see there are going to be, in my opinion, three broad implications. One being something like this. So it gives structure and it makes your answer look in terms of it will be very evident, distinct that your arguments, right? Otherwise it becomes one argument, like just getting explained a lot. Those answers I felt could have been slightly better, like the BRICS and so I heard recently, I'm not sure, like has Indonesia become part of the BRICS?
I think so. Today I think I read a article. I'm not I think Indonesia is a part of BRICS.
It has joined BRICS actually.
Yes.
It is a full member of BRICS now. Okay. So that I was expecting, because I had listened to a podcast.
Okay.
It became, and how it is going to change the equations now. Because combined together, these countries, I think they have like 55-60% of the world population.
Yeah.
They're going to that much amount of world trade, going to generate that much of GDP in the future. They're going to control the crucial, resources. This alliance, becomes stronger. So few extra new perspectives.
Okay.
Now, another one, I'm not very sure, but pitch, the tone. Sometimes it becomes as if you're giving a speech.
Oh.
Right. It is. I mean, that is good. Like it is more assertive and more confident. That's fine, but I'm not. That's why I said I'm not very sure about it. Right.
Okay.
If the room is small, maybe thoda sa less louder.
Less loud. Yeah.
So if the room is big, maybe you can go with that. Just ensure that if they are sitting very near to you, I think
then it's not a good idea.
So better to maybe you take the video and you check it for yourself. I think it can be a little louder than
softer.
Softer. Louder. So other than good. Like overall, again, that analytical thinking is there, passion and trying to give some new perspective, that is there. So these qualities, 190 minimum, right? So you should be pushing, like 200 and above, right? So IFS, if they notice, I think they will notice that, and that will definitely take discussion towards, more of Northeast issues, East Asia issues, Central Asia issues, right? And so if you mentioned Middle East in one of the answers in the end. So if that answer was given in the beginning, maybe they can pick up Middle East also, right? So they can start discussing around. So more depth is required in IR part.
Okay.
All the best.
Thank you so much.